undeniable truth is that time once passed can never return, whether it's a fleeting second or a long, drawn-out decade. Your present moment instantly becomes the past as soon as it happens. In just a few hours, today will turn into yesterday. If you live in a temperate climate region, you will witness the cycle of 4 seasons each year. 10 years have passed, and as I grow older, I deeply feel the marks of time etched into every little thing. Yet, the reality is that no neuroscientist has ever discovered a clock inside the human brain. This makes them wonder, does time truly exist? It's strange, because after all, you can still clearly feel the presence of time. LL arrive in 5 minutes, you can guess how long they. You take your phone out of your pocket and quickly check Facebook for a bit. And after about 4.5 minutes, you'll instinctively and naturally slip your phone into your pocket. In the last 30 seconds, your brain starts longing for that person to appear. Time must certainly exist, for we all clearly feel when a week, a month, or even an entire year has passed. Time is something obvious and easily noticeable. It moves at a steady pace, like the oscillation of a quartz crystal, causing the clock hands to turn. Time always flows in one fixed direction, moving from the past toward the future, and can also be measured precisely. But why do some people doubt the existence of time? Scientists not only question the existence of time from a scientific perspective but also examine it through the lens of culture. For example, researchers found that the language of the Amundawa tribe, an isolated people living deep in the Amazon rainforest of Brazil, completely lacks any lexical concept of time. Some say the Amundawa tribe has no concept of time, yet they still have ways to mark events that occur. Since its announcement in 2011, this discovery has remained a controversial topic, with ongoing debates simmering over the years. Should we stop at a conventional linguistic study, or are we truly perceiving time in different ways? It's hard to know how our ancestors perceived time in the past, as studies on time perception have only begun to be conducted in the last 150 years. Aristotle once viewed the present as something constantly changing, and by 160 AD, Marcus Aurelius, by then the Roman emperor, also likened time to a river sweeping all events away. To this day, many people still agree with these views. However, since the 20th century, physics has opened a completely new chapter. While many still believe that time is an objective, one-directional flow they can perceive, some scientists are beginning to question this. Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity completely transformed our understanding of the concept of time. He proved that time is essentially shaped by matter. Time did not exist independently from the very beginning, nor was it predetermined before the universe came into being. Like a straight line upon which all events would successively etch themselves onto its unyielding axis. Einstein proved that time is relative. This effect becomes more pronounced for objects moving at high speeds or located near a larger object. The events turned out not to occur simultaneously on the same timeline. There cannot be a simultaneous present for the entire universe, as Newtonian physics once conceived. In reality, many phenomena in the universe can be arranged in sequence, but time is not simply divided into 3 distinct markers: past, present, and future. Some physics equations remain valid even when time is reversed. This has particularly intrigued certain theoretical physicists. For example, the philosophers of Rovenly believe that time does not pass. Indeed, it does not even exist, but is merely an illusion. Even so, very few people could truly grasp Rovenly's reasoning. For even if time did not truly exist, the perception of time, the time you sense through your own neural activity, is the only real time. That is precisely why physical evidence contradicts people's actual perception of life. We share and agree on concepts such as the past and the future. They reflect the reality of our own lives right here, on Earth. But the equations of physics have clearly demonstrated that the concepts of past and future we commonly refer to cannot be applied to the entire universe. Far, far away in some distant horizon, they will turn into meaningless numbers. Or perhaps, as Newton once asserted, time is absolute. Our beliefs about how time operates can also lead to many misunderstandings. Is there a way for us to gain a more accurate understanding of time? When thinking about time, we often share a common perspective on one part of it, the past. Thinking about your past, you can imagine it as a vast video library, an archive where you can freely rummage to pull out tapes recording every event that has happened in your life. But psychologists have proven that so-called autobiographical memory is not nearly as accurate. In fact, most of us forget far more than we can remember. Sometimes we completely forget an event even when others firmly insist that we were there, at that exact moment, and even took part in it. Sometimes, even a reminder, a mnemonic device, a photo, or even a video clip isn't enough to awaken the memories that lie dormant within us. And sometimes, when we leaf through the memories in our hearts, we unconsciously change how we perceive them. For example, when you realize someone has lied to you about something. As we replay the event in our minds, we unconsciously adjust that memory to align with the new information we've just learned. Life ISN. Elizabeth Lutus, a psychologist, has spent decades researching this issue. Through physics experiments, she once made volunteers believe they could achieve the impossible. For example, kissing a giant green frog, or having encountered some bizarre creature in the past. Even if you retell your own story to your closest friends, it has already been altered somewhat and stored in memory in a different form. And this is another common mistake. Many people believe that envisioning the future is entirely different from recalling the past. In reality, these two processes are closely interconnected and occur simultaneously in the same brain region. We only use a part of our brain to recall the past or imagine our lives in the years to come. Our own memories are the foundation for imagining the future. We take memories from the past as the material to paint the vision of the future, something we can clearly envision through the lens of our minds. This skill helps us plan and visualize different scenarios in our minds, allowing us to predict outcomes based on varying courses of action. Finally, we will choose the option we believe is the most suitable. Your curiosity right now is the result of your brain's process of adapting to time. A child with scant autobiographical memory lives only in the present. They feel they are happy. They feel they are crying. They feel hungry and they feel miserable. The child goes through all of that without needing to recall how bitterly cold it was last month, nor caring whether the temperature might drop in the coming days. But as the child grows, they gradually develop a sense of self. Then, in a moment, they suddenly grasp the concept of time, recognizing the difference between yesterday and today compared to tomorrow. Even at that age, picturing yourself in the future is still no easy task. Psychologist Jenny Busby-Gren observed that when asking 3-year-olds about their plans for the next day, only a third of them could provide a coherent answer. When psychologist Christina Athens gave children some salty crackers and asked if they wanted more crackers or to switch to drinking water, most chose to drink water. It's no surprise that eating too much salt makes children thirsty. But when Athens asked them what they would choose the next day, eating a cookie or drinking water, most still opted for water. D probably choose to eat the cake, because adults understand that if they only drink water tomorrow, This means young children cannot envision themselves in a future different from the present, where they know that everything, or at least some things, will change. Thus, our perception of time is continually shaped by our minds as we mature, with many factors playing a crucial role. That is merely memory, focus, along with our emotions and perceptions of the time that has passed, something that still lingers somewhere in this space. Awareness of time drives us to endlessly search for ourselves within our own minds. Time is not just a tool to help us organize our lives, but also the essence that allows us to fully experience every living moment. Of course, one could argue that whether we perceive time intuitively or based on physical laws ultimately doesn't really matter. In everyday life, we walk on smooth roads without ever thinking about the fact that the earth is actually round. We often say the sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening, even though we know it's actually due to the earth rotating on its axis. The truth is that human perception cannot keep up with new scientific discoveries. We can only experience the world through our innate senses. Human perception of time also follows that same rule. It's hard for us to escape our own subjective feelings about time. No matter how well you read and understand the theory of relativity, waiting 10 minutes for the bus still feels much longer than 10 minutes of fun conversation with friends. As still a positive point, although we can. Reflecting on time can help you calmly face the past and the mistakes you've made. Rather than viewing the past, present, and future as a straight line, we can consider memory as a rich resource that helps us envision the future. This is incredibly important. Humans are fully capable of time travel in the mind, moving forward to the future or rewinding to the past, depending on each person's imagination. That is the ability that sets humans apart from all other creatures, and at the same time, it is what distinguishes adults from children. We, as adults, have the ability to plan for the future or create a work of art. Every stroke carries its consequence the moment the pencil meets the paper. We all understand how paint or ink must be used to create a work of art that can endure for decades, and this is nothing new, as memory has always played an immensely important role. Aristotle once asserted that memory is not merely a repository of our lives, but rather the very tool that allows us to envision the future. This means that having only a vague memory, something you once considered a flaw when unable to recall the past accurately, is actually a human advantage. If memories are etched firmly into endlessly repeating frames, identical 100 times over, then imagining the future becomes an immense challenge. Now, if someone tells you to imagine a Monday that doesn't involve struggling with a pile of clothes to iron or traffic jams on the way to work. Instead, you'll sit on a float drifting gently along the emerald green canal, with vibrant tropical flowers lining both banks. You will be taken by boat along the office buildings and arrive right at the entrance. There, your high school friends, not co-workers, are welcoming you with a refreshing glass of juice. Most of you will be able to do it right away without any difficulty, because this is just imagination. Just remember that your memory works so flexibly that you can recall the memories of the street where you once worked at any time. About the swaying sensation of gliding on the water, the familiar faces of old friends, the vibrant silhouettes of tropical flowers, and even the cool glass of fruit juice. You can not only recall distinct memories, decades apart, but also piece them together to create an image never seen, or even heard of, before. Theoretically, imagining a Monday entirely conjured from imagination like that is truly no easy task. But in reality, it's the flexibility of memory that allows us to do this with almost unbelievable ease. Therefore, we should not blame our memory whenever it disappoints us. Memories are made to be changeable, allowing us to gather millions of fragments from different moments in life. When combined, they will open up endless creative possibilities for the future. In reality, when memories of the past are damaged, our ability to envision the future is also affected. Ilino Maggi, a neuroscientist, asked a group of people to imagine a future where they stood in the middle of a museum. Some say they will stand beneath the round archway, while others imagine the marble-tiled floor. But patients with memory loss cannot imagine or describe the image of the museum where they are standing. Without a doubt, memory is what allows us to contemplate the future. Therefore, don't just think of our memories as a convenient video archive. We must understand that everyone's memory is not always accurate, and we should accept that people may remember the same event in very different ways. Besides changing our perception of time, we can also do something else. This is the most common question people have when learning about the concept of time. How can we make time slow down? The older we grow, the faster time seems to slip away, leaving behind endless regrets in our hearts. Upon reaching middle age, a week or even a whole year passes by in the blink of an eye. Flow, determined by the number of new memories you've just returned from a long vacation, it feels like because of the flood of new memories a sign that on the contrary, time seems to slow down when you feel sad, depressed, lonely, rejected, or when no one wants to be by your side. As writer Lily Zianger once wrote in 105, happy moments always seem to pass too quickly. What do you need to do to make your happiness last? For example, on a Sunday evening, when you suddenly realize your entire weekend has flown by in a blur without you even getting to enjoy it. Right now, there's one thing you can do. Keep exploring fresh experiences. Instead of just going to your usual coffee shop or watching movies at the same old theater, try something new this weekend. Discover new and exciting destinations. All the fascinating things there will make your time fly by. But later, when you lie down with more memories and wake up on Monday morning, you'll realize your weekend felt long and fulfilling. Of course, we can't always escape the whirlwind of life. But if every day you strive to change your life, to find more joy in the present, then looking back later, you'll see how those years stretch out endlessly. Give it a try. Just a small change, like taking a different route to work, can make a significant difference. The formula is this: the more memories you create in everyday life, the richer and more meaningful your life will seem when you look back. In short, the human mind's experience of time can never quite catch up to the latest discoveries about the nature of time in physics. Time constantly flows past us without pause. While we cannot change how our brains perceive time, we can certainly choose more positive ways of thinking when facing it. However, even after cultivating new ways of thinking about time, the flow of life can still take unexpected turns, leaving you feeling passive and struggling to maintain control. What, then, is time? But when I tried to explain time to someone else, I suddenly realized I didn't understand it at all.